Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. I am ready for the event.
United States Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, this is Mission Control, Houston. Please call Station for a voice check.
Station, this is Brian Schatz at the United States Senate Committee on Indian Affairs. How do you hear me?
Hello, sir. I read you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Thank you so much, Duke. It is great to see you, and thank you so much for speaking with all of us today, both in the room and watching the live stream. I'm honored to host today's historic conversation from the United States Senate Committee on Indian Affairs hearing room. Joining me are several members of Congress and their staffs who are very interested in learning from you today. I know we're working on a tight schedule with a bit of a delay, so I'll jump right into my question. As the first Native woman in space, you are breaking barriers. How do you hope that your mission inspires the younger generation of future Native astronauts, and what advice would you give them?
It is definitely an honor to represent Native Americans on the International Space Station. And I hope that we can reach out to the younger generation and inspire some children that would like to be engineers or scientists. You know, when I was younger and working towards becoming an engineer, a Marine, and an astronaut, I focused very hard on not being a female Marine or a Native American fighter pilot. But as I gained experience and I widened my perspective from my own world, I realized how important it is that we acknowledge and strive for diversity. And it's really because of that younger generation. It's important that we share our journey and that we tell our story. Because although I feel in the operational context, we have truly gotten to a stage where the capable and the qualified are selected for a mission. The harsh reality is, though, that we still live in a world where there are barriers, as you mentioned, that inequality does stifle success. And in order to continue breaking down those barriers, we need to communicate. We need to inspire the youth. We need to empower them to dream, to help them achieve their goals. And so that's the advice that I would give to that young generation. It starts with an idea, it starts with a thought, a dream, but it doesn't stop there. And it won't always be easy. You need to reach out, ask for help, and begin this process of achieving your dreams.
Duke, this is Senator Lisa Murkowski from the great state of Alaska. I'm sure that from your vantage, you're able to pick my state out above perhaps the chairman here from Hawaii, but he's surrounded by a lot of blue. But thank you for this extraordinary opportunity and to be able to have this conversation. In my state, Alaska Native youth are becoming more and more focused on opportunities within the STEM career field. Do you have any advice for them as they are looking to, again, this very significant area of opportunity?
Absolutely. And yes, it is easy to pick out Alaska as well as Hawaii, though. And that is one of our favorite pastimes, is looking out the cupola windows at our beautiful planet. And for those children that are interested in a STEM field, I was the same when I was young. I really enjoyed math and science, but I had to seek out some of these opportunities. They're not always just present and available there for the taking. So the advice that I would give to young children is, if they have this passion or this field in education that they're interested in, they should discuss with their teacher, reach out to the community, talk to their parents about the things that they're interested in. Try to find some other resources that may be within your school or within your neighborhood, or maybe this is an education source that you can find online that can help you then learn more about this field and kind of grow that passion. The longer that you study, the more in depth that you can put time towards these fields, you'll realize that there are more opportunities in life. When you're young, you think there's just one goal from here to there. But as you start to learn and grow, you realize there are many different paths to achieving those dreams. And it begins with education.
Colonel Mann, what a pleasure to be able to speak with you. This is Catherine Cortez Masto. I'm the senator from Nevada. And I am so excited to be able to ask you this question because this comes from Pyramid Lake Junior and Senior High School. There's 28 tribal communities in my state. And let me just tell you, all of the students are so excited to hear from you. But this comes from Carolyn Sanchez of the Reno Sparks Indian Colony and Velma Ross Allen of the Fallon Paiute Shoshone tribe. Their question is, we can only imagine the effort and determination it takes to become an astronaut. What were some obstacles that you faced being the first Native American woman to go to space, and how did you overcome them?
One thing that I think all of the astronauts that have in common is that they've always been very passionate in what they did in life, and there were certainly a lot of challenges along the way. Some people view these setbacks as maybe failures, but really you need to look at them as learning opportunities. There were times growing up where academically things were very challenging. Times where I felt like maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe this class that I decided to take, I overstepped what my capabilities are. And you may have a little bit of self-doubt. That's okay. That is part of growing up, and that's part of life. But again, it's reaching out to people, surrounding yourself with people that can help you, that can give you that encouragement to pick yourself back up and then move forward. Certainly at my time training in the Marine Corps and flying fighter jets, there were some very challenging times. Learning to land a fighter jet on board an aircraft carrier in night when the deck is pitching is one of the most challenging things that I've ever done. And it took a lot of studying, it took a lot of practice, and there were a lot of setbacks. But it's that perseverance in life that will keep you moving forward. And to be honest, those challenges, they don't end. Just last week, I went outside the International Space Station with my crewmate Koichi on a spacewalk. We went out to make some modifications to the space station to our solar arrays. We had some technical challenges with the hardware outside the space station. Fortunately, there was a huge team on the ground that helped us come up with troubleshooting ideas. We had to think on our feet. We had to overcome these challenges even though we were frustrated. We needed to accomplish the mission. But throughout this time of growing up and learning to deal with adversity and learning to pick yourself up after a setback, this was not unfamiliar territory for either of us. We worked together, we'd worked with the team on the ground, and we were able to achieve. And we were able to successfully install this modification kit for the solar arrays. And so these challenges will happen all throughout your life. I challenge you really to accept them and embrace them and learn everything you can from them and realize that they happen to everybody, even to astronauts on board the International Space Station.
The people from the Anishinaabe Nation and the Sioux Nation. Before we say goodbye, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to visit with us today. I was going to ask you about your spacewalk. Sounded a little fragile. Maybe you can tell today's youth how important it is to study science in order to protect this fragile planet.
It is so important, the science that we're doing on board the space station. A lot of the science is about our human bodies. A lot of it is technology demonstrations for future exploration into space. But also a lot of what we do on the International Space Station benefits humans back on Earth and focuses on our planet, on how important it is that we gather this information and this data so that we can learn more about our planet, to understand how we are affecting the planet and how to take care of it. One of my favorite experiments was recently installed last year on the external logistics platform of the space station, and it's called EMIT. And this uses a spectrometer to look at dust particles in our environment. From these arid regions, there can be tens of thousands of pounds of dust particles that travel across the world, particles from Africa, and can make it all the way to the United States of America. And understanding the impact of these particles, characterizing them, what the material is made of, what color these particles are, can then help us understand the impacts on Earth. Do these particles cool the planet, or do they warm the planet? Gathering some of this data can help us update our climate models, and that will help us better to predict future climate predictions on Earth and better understand how we can care for our precious planet. When I was out on the spacewalk last week, I had the unique opportunity of being outside the space station with just a visor between myself, the vacuum of space, and our beautiful planet. It is a magnificent and glorious view, and beyond it is the blackest of black that you've ever seen. And there's a thin line of atmosphere that's protecting us from the vacuum of outer space. It was truly one of the most incredible moments of my life, this view of looking at our planet, and it gives you this overwhelming sense of magnificent world that we live in, but also the fragility of the world and how important it is that we, as a human species, together take care of our planet.
Duke, we want to thank you for taking the time to talk to all of us. You are an inspiration to not just members of Congress, but all of the people we represent, and especially all the young people who see in you someone to emulate, someone to strive to be like, and someone who does their job with incredible joy and determination. And so with that, on behalf of the entire United States Congress, and if I may be so bold, on behalf of a very grateful nation, we thank you for taking the time. We know you have a hard stop, and this is the hardest of hard stops. We're going to lose you shortly. So thank you very much, Duke, for taking the time with us. Please stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you on Earth soon.
Thank you very much. It is an honor and a privilege.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all our participants from the United States Congress. Station, we're now resuming operational audio communications.